Good morning, students. This is our third session of World Wide Web and HTTP. In last session, we have seen what is the HTTP protocol, then what is the format of the request message, okay, what are the different components of the request message, what is the status line, header lines, blank line, then what are the different types of headers which are supported by the HTTP protocol and other details also. So today we'll see the next part of the HTTP protocol, that is our response message, format of the response message. Now if you focus on the PPT PowerPoint presentation, here you will see the representation of the response message. Okay, now it shows what? It shows the different components which are very similar to your request message, that is status line, header lines, blank line and the body. Now when clients make the request to the server accept the request, okay, and as per the parameters which are set by the client in a request message, it generates the response and send back to the client again. When that response is sent back to the client again, at that time some parameters are also set by the server which provides the additional information to the client regarding how to process the request. Now let us see the first part, that is the status line of the response message. The status line mentions the first part, that is the version. Again it is a HTTP version 1.1. Then followed by status code. Now status code is what? Now it is an indication of the request, means what happened with the request which is made by the client. Now there are different status codes which are associated with the status code. For example, if the status codes are in the range of 100, then 200, 300, 400, some error codes are also given. We will see that part in a subsequent session. Now next one is the phrase. Now also along with the response message, some header parameters are also set by the server. So we'll see the details of the different headers parameters which are set by the server along with the corresponding value. Then blank line and the body, okay, so it depending upon the response it has the size. Now let us see the next part of this. Now here you will see what? The status code and the status phrases. Now what I told you, if your status code in the range of 100, then all these status codes are informational. Okay, if your status codes are in the range of 200, it indicates your request is successfully processed by the server. If your status codes are in the range of 300, means the client has diverted to some other URL. Now if your status code is in the range of 400, then it indicates what? There is error from the client side. And if the status codes are in the range of 500, then it indicates there is an error on a server side. So only I have told you what? These are the different ranges of the status code. If you want to see what are the details of all these error codes, status codes, then you can refer this table and you can Google it for additional information and additional example based upon the status code. Now so this is very important, because while browsing the internet, so we are facing lots of issues. So most of the time you will see some types of errors which are displayed in a client window along with the status code, and at that time we are wondering what is the meaning of this number, whether it is 100, whether it is 301 or whether it is 403. So all these numbers are nothing but the status codes. Now if you encounter such type of error while browsing the different websites, then you can easily identify what is the meaning of that particular status code, and you can easily identify what is the error associated with that. Okay, now let us see the next part of this. Now the response header. Now we have seen what some header parameters along with values are set by the client when it makes the request to the server to provide the additional information about the client, okay, so that accordingly the server can process the request and send back the reply. So when the response is sent back the server also sets some header parameters. For example, as given in this table, date, upgrade, server, and set cookies, and content encoding parameters, locations, and that last modify these parameters. So here what is important, server wants to provide some additional information to the client. Okay, means what is the name of the server, then if that application demands the cookie, then server also sends some cookie related information to the client. Then what are the different encoding methods and the languages supported by required to open this particular response message correctly. That is very important. Now next one is what content length means. While sending the response, server also informed to the client is this is the size of the response, and accordingly server client maintain the connection with the server. Now next one is what accept ranges last modified. We'll see that part in a subsequent session. Now let us see one example here. Now this is what we have seen, what request and response messages we know, but this is the example where we want to download one image from the server. So and we know the name of the file and we know the exact path of the file, and just we are sending the request to the server. And if you see, as per the format of the request, get method is mentioned, which is used to retrieve some files from the server, and the exact path of the file and the name of the file and the protocol which is supported by the client. Then after that you will see what some headers are set by the client. That headers indicates to the server that client is requesting that image one file, but the format of the file should be GIF and JPEG. Okay, other formats are not supported by the server. Now when the server send the response to the client, at that time you see, now just we have recently checked the format of the response message. Now the first one is what version of the protocol. By default it is what HTTP 1.1, and the status code is what 200, means whatever request made by the client is now accepted, and it is the status is okay. That means the phrase associated with that status code is okay, and now server is sending the reply to the client along with some header parameters like date, server, MIME, and content. Date means what is the current date at that time that response is generated, and the server is what the name of the server, that is challenger in this case. MIME is what multipurpose mail exchange. So we'll see that MIME part in a subsequent session. And next one is the content length, means what that is the size of the response. Okay, so this is one example which indicates what is the actual request, what are the actual contents of the request, what are the actual contents of the response. Now let us say one more example where we are trying to post one more file on the server. Instead of retrieving the file, we are trying to upload the file, means we want to send something to the server. Okay, so in that case the method which is used, that is post. Now if you see the request message, you will see the method is what post, and then the path of the file and the name of the file. Okay, then what some header parameters which are set by the request. Now the content length is what means the file which that client is going to upload is having the size of 50 bytes in this example. Now what is the response given by the server? Now server, the request is accepted, processed, and whatever file which is sent by the client is now uploaded on the server, means your request is successful. That's why the status code in a response message is what 200, and as usual the parameters which are set by the server are date, server, MIME, now content length. Okay, so these are the certain header parameters which are set by the server. So this is all about what? This is all about your request and response messages along with the example. So in subsequent lectures, we'll see what is the HTTP persistent connection and in-persistent connection. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any doubts regarding this, you can make use of discussion forum on the Moodle.